Hello everyone and welcome again to Sanggumay Vlogs Official. This is Maric Navarro. I would like to share with you the good news about Philippines. Guys, I know that you are also wondering just like us who are here. We are also wondering when we can go back to the Philippines for vacation. Everybody, this is Sanggumay Vlogs Official. I would love to share with you the good news in the Philippines. So finally we can go home to the Philippines, guys. Returning Filipinos, of course, or we call them balikbayans, and of course the foreigners who are wanting to go vacation in the Philippines. So it says here on the news, fully vaccinated international arriving passengers and returning Filipinos just like us will be no longer required to undergo facility-based quarantine. So, hindi na tayo magka-quarantine. So, upon arrival, starting on February 1, because the government suspended the color classification of the countries and territories. That is what Malacanang said, okay, on Friday. So, starting on February 1st, the fully vaccinated, just like us, inbound passengers will instead be required to present a negative rapid test and PCR test taken within 48 hours prior to your departure going to the Philippines, okay, from the country of your origin, whether you came from Europe, from Asia, Saudi Arabia, the US, or any other parts of the world. So within 48 hours, guys, you need to have the result of your rapid test or PCR test, okay? You need to have a copy of that one, and of course, to make sure that you also show your copy of your vaccination cards or your certificates, vaccination certificates. So that is what the Cabinet Secretary, acting presidential spokesperson Carlo Nograles said in the press briefing that was, I think, on Friday. Alright, so the inbound traveler earlier were categorized based on the country of origin, green, yellow, or red classification. Remember, we have the country says green, and then there's yellow country like the US, and there are the red classification as well. The higher rate there is, like in COVID ratings, nasa red sila, okay? So, upon arrival, they shall no longer be required to observe mandatory facility-based quarantine. So, that's very good, guys. We will not be paying anymore kasi ang mahal-mahal ng mag-quarantine. So, that's a very good news. So, for the fully vaccinated ones, ha? So, the inbound travelers should monitor themselves for any signs and symptoms for 7 days, with the first day as the day of your departure or day of your travel or day of your arrival, okay, to the Philippines. They are also required to report to the respective local government unit if they will have symptoms. So, like if you arrive in the Philippines and then you felt that you're not feeling good or something like that, then you have to report to the LGU, okay? And they will tell you what to do. So, starting on February 16, foreign nationals entering the country, Philippines, must also show proof of full vaccination against COVID-19. So, yeah, you just have to have your certificate or your card. Like, remember when you get your vaccines, they will gonna give you the card. So first dose and second dose, you have the card. So make sure that you keep those cards because they're very important. And of course, you better get also a certificate that you are fully vaccinated. Okay. So also here we have the fully vaxxed national of non-visa required countries allowed entry to the Philippines is starting on February 10. So February 10, guys, those who are vaccinated, of course, national from the non-visa required countries, non-visa required countries. These are the countries who don't have to have visa and they want to go to the Philippines. They can also stay in the Philippines for 30 days or less. Required that they have a return ticket going back to the country. Oh, excuse me. Oh, you came home early? You're out early?
Yeah, we had early dismissal.
Why?
Because of this weather, even though it's not even that bad.
Oh, okay.
The roads might freeze.
What?
The roads might turn into ice.
Oh no, okay. Alright, excuse me guys. Yes, Tax National of non-visa required countries. These are the countries that can stay in the Philippines or who can enter the Philippines without visa. Of course, kailangan you have to have like a valid passport that is good for 6 months or beyond. And of course, you need to have a valid return ticket, right? Like when you go to the Philippines, make sure that you have a return ticket because you're really just gonna visit Philippines for 30 days or less. Except of course for Brazilians and Israelis who are given at least 59 days to stay based on their existing agreements, because the Philippines and Brazil and Israel have an agreement that they're allowing them to stay in the Philippines for at least 59 days. Other than that, everyone else are at least 30 days or less. Okay, make sure that if you're planning to visit the Philippines, make sure that you have a return ticket and you have a valid passport na hindi siya mag-expire. It's not supposed to be expiring in 3 months time, at least 6 months and beyond. So if you're planning to go to the Philippines, guys, make sure to check your passports. Make sure that it is not expiring very soon, okay? Or at least it has 2 years, 3 years, 1 year before it expires. Because you don't want to go to the Philippines and your passport is only good for like few months, you know. Because you want to make sure that your passport is good for 6 months or more, or beyond 6 months, okay? So, Philivax national of non-visa required countries are allowed to enter to the Philippines is starting on February 10, guys, okay? So, make sure that you are holders of passport valid for at least 6 months at the time of arrival with a return or outbound ticket to their country of origin or the next country of destination. Like if you are just like staying in the Philippines for 25 days and then you are going in other parts of the world next, okay? So you just have to show them that one, and you have to also show your proof of vaccination against COVID-19, like from the World Health Organization International Certificate of Vaccination and Prophylaxis, the VaxCert Philippines, or the National or State Digital Certificate of the government which has accepted VaxCert PH under a reciprocal arrangement unless otherwise permitted by the IATF, Interagency Task Force, who takes care of the infectious diseases in the Philippines. So the children below 18 years old are exempted from the requirement of complete vaccination and providing proof of vaccination status before boarding, according to, of course, the spokesperson of Malacanang. So, the fully vaccinated nationals of the non-visa required countries should also observe the existing testing and quarantine protocols for fully vaccinated international arriving passengers. Okay, so that's the good news, guys. And here you go. Arriving passengers should also have these proofs of COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, this is the VaxCert Philippines and the World Health Organization international certificates of vaccinations and prophylaxis. So you just have to show all those ones when you go in to the Philippines, okay? Unvaccinated, this is for the unvaccinated guys who are wanting to go to the Philippines. Unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or individuals whose vaccination are questionable, not sure, cannot be independently validated, will be required to present a negative RT. So you have to show a negative rapid test or PCR test taken within 48 hours. So kailangan you have to show that one, okay? That is negative prior to your departure from the country of origin. So they will be requested to undergo facility-based quarantine. So as soon as you arrive Philippines, if you are not vaccinated, then of course you will gonna undergo quarantine for, I think it's 5 days, until you're gonna receive the result of your rapid test or PCR test taken on the 5th day according to the spokesperson of the Malacanang, okay? So that's it. So 5 days in quarantine until you receive the result of your negative PCR test or rapid test. So you will also be required to undergo home quarantine until the 14th day. First day is from first day will be considered yung arrival day, okay, in the Philippines, and then you're gonna have a home quarantine until the 14th day after your arrival. Wherever part of the Philippines you're going, if you're going to Luzon or Visayas or Mindanao, so on your 14th day you're gonna just report, okay? Respective LGUs are tasked to monitor arriving passengers who will undergo home quarantine. So wherever you are going, like if you are negative on the 5th day and you're going home to the southern part of the Philippines, whichever you're going there, they're gonna monitor you. I think you're gonna report to the LGU there so that they know that you are there and they can monitor you as well. 14th day, okay? And Nograles said that the children below 12 years old who cannot be vaccinated shall follow the quarantine protocols of the parents. So kung anong protocol ng parents, they will gonna also follow that. Or the accompanying guardians traveling with the children, okay? As who are subject to deportation or blacklist orders of the immigration shall not be admitted to the Philippines. So just want to let you know, we're just sharing you this one, okay? So that's good news, guys. So all our friends who are thinking of going to the Philippines for vacation, you're good na, guys. Now you can go. Now we can go vacation without thinking, oh my gosh, because we're all thinking about the quarantine. So now we waited until there's no more quarantine. So now that's good. All we have to make sure, guys, is make sure to not forget your vaccination cards. You better get like a certificate, vaccination certificate like that, and of course a negative rapid test, PCR test 48 hours before you go to the Philippines, okay? Yes, 48 hours, guys, within 48 hours before you go to the Philippines, so or traveling to the Philippines. So yes, so we're happy and we are thanking so much the Philippine government for finally opening up Philippines.